We're live.
Hey,
Pay attention.
I was looking at my friend requests. I have like almost 200 friend requests waiting for me. And I don't know these people. And I don't mind that I don't know people, but I'm wondering if I should turn my Facebook page into like more of an influencer page or like something else than rather just like, hey, my mom is on here. My mom I be posting stuff. She's like, why you say that about that girl? That's mean, Kiki. So I'm like, maybe a page where my mom doesn't see all my pettiness. I don't know. And then it's like there's
You're gonna block your mother?
oh yeah, I wouldn't admit it. Don't play no games. She know. Hi mom, I love you. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out like, do I turn it into an influencer page where people can just like it and because otherwise I have to go through and like people have been waiting like and it's like some people I have a lot of friends in common with, but then some people it's like one cat picture. We have no friends in common. And
Cat picture.
And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Jared, now I called the show. I didn't know what to call it, so I said Monique got her hair done. We got no plan. Jeremy says I should have said did.
Monique got her hair did, yeah.
Not done.
Yeah. Like I went and got my hair did.
What was that, like Ebonics or something?
Well, nobody does Ebonics. That's just common sense. Monique got her hair did. Like, oh, like when you walk in a room after you get your hair done. Now I don't know which one it is. It is not done. No, because I'd be like, oh, you got your hair did.
Well, there's some English teacher watching right now who can tell us.
Hi, Miss Jeanette. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for the correction. Yes, so I'm wondering what I should do with my Facebook page because I just don't know. And then, yeah, like, but 200 people waiting for me to go through and like make sure that you're a real person and not. Like
so you don't let people follow you if
and people can follow me, but I think I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. But yes, I did get my hair done. This is why I don't have on no makeup because when she washed my hair, she be all. I mean, like she be getting it. My girl be good.
So vote on Monique's new braids. What do you think?
I don't know. I like them. I like them a lot. I don't.
You haven't had those kind before.
No, we don't need to take a vote, honey. It's a vote on one. Do I like it?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Don't play no games. Yes. Oh, I like my hair. I'm not about to feel self-conscious because somebody else don't.
Oh,
that's so. You know what? I'm gonna calm down myself. Hey, Angel. Hey, Victoria.
Oh boy,
Laura. Okay, y'all. Let's go. I don't know. Okay, so the title of today's family meeting. This is the family meeting. We couldn't do it yesterday because we were all wrapped up in other things. But the title is I didn't have time to plan because I was getting my hair did. And
she had one job at the beauty shop, and that was to
choose the topics for the family meeting. And I was listening to a book and I got wrapped up in listening to the foolishness of this book. Oh, speaking of books, how's your book coming that you're reading?
Oh,
aren't you reading Beautiful because I said so?
Yeah, I'm reading we're getting ready for our conversation with Aaron Kunkel on all the things in a few weeks. It's going to be on gentle parenting. So you and I have both been reading a book
by Sarah Ockwell Smith.
And she's one of the founders of gentle parenting. She's written 14 books, but this is the book that is kind of about her philosophy behind all the other books.
Well, it's technically not her philosophy. She borrowed it from critical theory.
Yeah. But her books on gentle parenting are all the praxis. Mm-hmm. And now she's kind of lifting up the hood a little bit and letting us look inside of what her underlying beliefs and worldview are.
She need to put the hood down. That carburetor is broke. You need to stay broke. She do not. But yes, Angel asked the question. She asked, how long did it take? I got there at 2 and I left at 4. But Angel, these are crochet braids. These are not individuals. My girl just good. But so yes, she is encouraging people to be anti-childist. And you would think, oh, I've heard that term before, right? No, anti-childist is a new term, but you're probably thinking of the term anti-racist. She does, it seems, in my personal opinion, it seems like she's taken a lot of Kendi's thoughts and values and put them for children. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I have no idea, but it is definitely a lot of the same concepts. Looking at how do we apply equity to children. Yeah, it's a lot of the same, but the encouragement is for people not to participate in childish behavior the same way we would not participate in racist behavior. Now, there's a lot of things that I agree with in the book. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of things I agree with. It's just when you get to her why is where it really starts getting like coming undone for me. But like, I feel like it's sort of a straw man that she sets up of authoritarian parenting on the one side of like, you're screaming at your kids, you're spanking them all the time,
she sets up a false dichotomy that you are either beating your children if you spank them, or you're being a gentle parent. It's just like Ibram Kendi's false problem of like, well, people are either racist or they are anti-racist. And so if I am not being anti-childish, then I am definitely, in her mind, on the other end of being childish. The same way that for Kendi, if you are not being anti-racist cognitively all the time, then you are being racist.
Yeah,
there's no in between. And so it leaves me with a lot of questions.
Yeah, and a lot of what she says is kind of like being in tune with your kids' emotions. If they're having a hard time, being present with them, trying to maintain the connection. Well, these are all great ideas. Like, I've found them very helpful in my own parenting journey but it's the kind of the underneath part of it of why you're doing those things, because there's this operating assumption that children just need to unfold naturally, and their biggest problem is unmet needs. And it's like, well, no, the Bible says something very different about foolishness being bound up in the heart of the child. And there's some seasons of parenting where your biggest job is to keep the child alive, and they're wanting to take big risks and jump off roofs and do crazy stuff.
There's no concept. There doesn't appear to be any room for the reality of sin.
Yeah.
And that children also are human, and they're born with a sin nature, and you don't have to teach your child to sin. And so with that with that being absent, how do I parent my child to be able to feel good, to make sure that gosh, what's really the best way to say this? Not that we're not injuring them, because I would agree with her. Like, we don't want to injure our children emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. Like, we don't want to do that. But the idea of injury seeps in. It's like, oh, well, I had to tell my child no, or I had to take this away, or they might have had to, sit in timeout, or the one that got me that seemed really weird. Now, I'm not married, but if I was married, honey, I'd have to put my foot down real quick.
I'm only on chapter 8, so if it's in chapters 8, 9, or 10, I haven't read that yet.
She thinks that parents should co-sleep with their children. Now, look, if you want to co-sleep with your child, honey, you do you. That is good for you. But
how old is the child? Is it
honey? But this again, you want to make sure your child is. So you want to make sure that your children have the right to be able to make these requests, and that you're not necessarily telling them no because you don't want to reject them. But what I got questions. And like, I have
Does she
questions.
have children? Yes, she does have children.
No, Sarah Ockwell Smith or me?
Yeah, no. The author.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She has like 5 children, I think.
She got a lot. But at some point, all them kids came about, you wasn't co-sleeping. Or I don't know. I really don't know, but I have questions. To me, like, I'm not saying that because I have some friends who their room is off limits to their children altogether. So
Victoria said, my husband said, absolutely not.
Honey, absolutely not. Okay. Don't play no games, because what? Yeah. So when she got to the, you need to co-sleep, and yeah, buddy, I'm just like, and I don't know, but I'm not married, so go ahead.
Elaine says children, and Elaine has a few children, kids do not need to just unfurl their own way. But that's kind of her operating assumption. And so when you have that as an operating assumption, and yet the gentle parenting people will always tell you, like, well, it's not permissive parenting. People confuse it with permissive parenting. But that's often how it ends up. It shows up.
Look, I don't know, permissive, authoritarian, authoritative, whatever you want to call it. All I know is that sometimes them gentle parented kids aren't so gentle. I be seeing some of them gentle parented kids wilding out over
slapping
here.
Their parents in the face.
Honey, I wish you would. Ask my nephews. I'm not the gentle aunt. Okay, you got to have gentle kids to gentle parent. My nephews weren't gentle. I don't really know what to say, but yes, why do they be running amok? Help me understand.
Yeah, so it's that when they are running amok, then the true gentle parenting people says, well, we're not that. We're not the permissive parents, but the permissive parents are like, I'm gentle parenting, so I don't know what the real thing is. All I know is when I was raising our kids, there was some structure. I always called it gentle structure. You know, it wasn't totally like so inflexible and rigid that there would be no exceptions. But when they were young, especially, it was fairly structured: bedtime, mealtime. I'm not making another meal if you don't like this one.
Honey, you'll be skinny today.
and chores and participation in the home and all of that. So there was a lot of structure. As they grew older, I called it more like a firm grip on a long rope. It's like, yeah, you can go out, but I'm going to have that firm grip on things. I don't know. There has to be structure.
Yeah, there has to be. One of my biggest things with parents, and is that they don't understand, largely in my conversations, the amount of sleep a child actually requires in order to function well, in order to not be irritated and moody, to be able to learn well, to be able to sleep well the next night. Like, sleep is so important. And she talks about sleep training and sleep cycles.
She's totally against
and she's against sleep training. And I'm like, honey, if I don't sleep, this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Late chat says, let me see, what scroll back the other way.
This is the only way.
That way. Here we go.
What?
That one. Right here. Because this is what my mama subscribed to. What is it called when your parents beat your tail and told you to go sit down somewhere? Don't forget, because you smell like outside. Your mama ever tell you smell like the outside?
No. She just would tell our girls they smell like a puppy dog if they came in from the outside.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
No, we smell like outside. Go and sit down somewhere. Yeah, don't let my good air out. Yeah, don't run in and out of here. You let out my good air. Yeah. Yeah, but no, and I mean, can I honestly look and be like, Pauline may have been a bit excessive. Sure. And I'm definitely my sister-in-law, both of my sisters would tell me that I'm probably too soft on my nephews now, a bit of a wuss. But it's still like my nephews who are toddlers, we gotta have structure.
Yeah. I sometimes I feel it's hard because when your kid, like I was thinking about doing a podcast because I'm doing this series this year on Theology Mom's Advice. I was thinking about doing a podcast on like 10 things your kids should be able to do by the time they're 10 or something.
Yeah.
And one of them's like, go to bed and stay in their room, go to sleep, by themselves, and, be able to sit in a restaurant without a device.
Yes.
And not interrupt their parents when they're talking. And
Father. Yes. You need to know enough, honey, by the time you 10, not to enter grown folks' conversation. Yes. And I,
sit in church without jumping around, like there's just some things that you have to have some basic things that you're helping the child acclimate to the world around them.
But that starts when they're young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't start that process at 10. And another thing that she brings up is that, well, we want to do things different. We don't want to train them to be adults now. We basically start to train children to be adults 20 minutes before they become adults, because they're not adults. So why would we want to train them to be adults now, or teach them how to be adults now, when now should be being about carefree and exploring? And no, I don't.
So we've been reading. I started reading. I didn't tell you this. I bought yesterday another gentle parenting book, because several months ago I asked on my page, like, if I read 2 gentle parenting books, what are the 2 books I should read? And I asked for everybody's advice.
Was this one of them?
And this is definitely one of them.
Because I said so was one?
Well, that author, like, people recommended different books by her, but that author was definitely like one of the highly recommended ones.
But she's so critical theory.
I don't think people picked up on it. That post got, I think that was one of them that got over 200 comments for me, which is a lot of engagement. But another book people recommended was this book called Good Inside. It's another parenting book. In the gentle parenting stream.
So I started to read. Don't work.
I started to read that last night, and she says it right up front that her premise is that both parents and children are good inside. And
who? What parenting kids? She ain't met my family. She ain't met my family. Will cut you. Ain't no parent or child in my family good inside. We
don't play Uno.
Don't play Uno with us. Don't come crazy. Don't talk to us crazy. Because, honey, we are not good inside. Yes, Father.
So
maybe, I don't know.
I'm reading that one now too, because I'm almost done with the Aquil Smith book, and so I'm gonna read this one. Then I'm gonna try to read one more before the podcast, just so
you are dedicated.
Well, I don't want. I get sick of people saying, "Well, you don't understand what it is. You don't know what it is. You're saying it wrong." So it's like, okay, look, what are the books I need to read? I'm done with my dissertation now. I'm picking 3 books from the list, so that people can stop jumping on me that I don't really know what gentle parenting is.
It's actually the opposite of parenting. Kinda. Yeah. Ain't no way. I'm not about to be ruled by no tiny human who, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like kids, especially in their early, the early moments, they run the show anyway. Like, they're going to let me know when they're wet, when they need to be changed, when they're hungry, when they're tired. Like, your life as a parent changes so much. That structure really helps them. And then that in turn also helps the parent. I feel like it's a win-win situation. If you come out crazy and I let you stay crazy until you're 19, honey,
you can't fix these problems when they're older. Now, Elaine, I am not that old.
Was there info like this when your girls were growing up, Krista? How new is this? Wait, you had gentle parenting when the girls were little?
Oh yeah. I had a couple friends who got mixed up in this error, and they don't talk to me no more.
It is quite heretical, I will tell you that.
It was I think it was called nonviolent parenting back then, but they had that, and I'm just such a simple person. Like, I really just tried to, I found John Rosemond helpful. I think I've mentioned that on here before. But you can't like live and die by books. Like, go talk to your grandparents. Like, what did they do? Like, how did they raise so many kids in such a tiny house? And like, go ask your grandparents some questions, You know
why they survived? Because they believe in full contact parenting. Okay. It was like a full contact sport. Raise up and say something else.
Because my grandparents had 5 kids and lived in like a pretty small house. They always built their own houses, but I've seen a couple of the houses that they built, and it was pretty small and had all those kids in there. And like, how did they think about parenting? I remember I used to ask my grandmother a lot of questions about parenting when my kids were young, and about her thinking process and trying to get out of my generation and all of the anxiety and all of that. So I would say, like, even if your parents or your grandparents made mistakes or whatever, that's okay. Like, learn from those mistakes, but also try to get some wisdom. That's kind of what I appreciate about John Rosemond's books is he's a little older. He's in a different generation. And so his books really should be called Parenting the Way Your Grandparents Parented. Like they're just different. He's not so saturated with secular psychology.
But you know what my favorite part of the book was? Is that she encourages you to counsel your parents or your grandparents, basically, if they disagree with this method, because disagreeing with this method
is that part of the book,
is childish. And because it's childish and we want to be anti-childish, at times our safety, our mental safety must come first. And so you should cancel and, create distance, not talk to the people who are childish. I was like, dang, I wonder what's going to happen when your kids cancel you.
Oh,
are you going to recognize the fact that you're unsafe, or are we just going to turn it around and blame them because there's something wrong with them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. You want to watch a video?
Sure. Let's do it.
And react to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
WWE parenting. Don't play no games. Don't play no games.
All right, here we go. This is raw. I don't think Monique's seen this video.
Hi, I'm Scout. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm an interdisciplinary major at UBC. I'm in my last semester. My primary thematic focus is decolonizing academia and public knowledge systems, and my secondary thematic focus is biocultural and linguistic futurity.
For those who don't know what that means, can you give us a quick rundown?
Yeah, basically what I focus on is the promises that the institution has made and also the emergence of Indigenous ways of knowing and being across the disciplines, and I feature in a lot of stuff like language revitalization, the emergent vitality of languages rather, and just kind of a bunch of stuff. I've taken courses in over 20 departments, so
okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think she need to go scout and find herself, because that's a mess. That is that's a whole mess.
Her parents probably paid $100,000 for that.
If not more. She was probably gentle parented. No, that's wrong. That's right. I'm just playing, y'all. It basically what
is translate all that? Like, I have no idea what was happening there.
What her goal is to say, much along the lines of critical theory, that knowledge and truth should come from the marginalized groups. And so how do you bring knowledge into the institutions, the universities, through, that's why she mentioned Indigenous people.
Indigenous knowledge.
Through, marginalized groups. And so how do I understand truth? How do I gain knowledge? Is 2 + 2 4 all the time for every person? Or is 2 + 2 5 when I use this type of knowledge over here? Or when I seek truth from the Indigenous people, how do we really understand gravity or relativity? Or
do you remember when we read that article when we went over to Reasons to Believe to film an interview, and they had us read an article about Indigenous physics.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, I have no idea what's happening here.
Because physics does change based on your...
But the speed of light is the speed of light. I don't understand.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's only fast for white people.
So
I don't know.
What kind of job would you get?
None. And this is the point.
With that.
None. She whatever her arguments are, she will have to create some type of position for herself at some kind of organization that is probably far leftist, or she'll get a job at a university.
Or Taco Bell.
Maybe.
I seriously don't understand. Like what is the thought process because an interdisciplinary major, she said she's taken classes from many
across 20 different
departments. That just sounds like you made up something and called it a major.
But that's what they're allowing them to do now, because it's all about you. It's all about what are you finding gratification in? How are you changing? How are you changing the way that people think about things? How are you and that's what it really is. It's not about just changing. How are you deconstructing?
Decolonizing.
Well, it is decolonization, but it's really the aim is how are you deconstructing the way that the university system has historically run?
So how do you parlay that though into a job? Is that a like a DEI director position, or could you only like go into academia with that? Like what are you doing with that degree?
I don't know, because I assume that she was getting a bachelor's.
She looks like she's getting a bachelor's.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
No idea. I have no idea.
Piano teacher, homeschool mom. She's leading your homeschool co-op. I don't know what you do with that degree.
I don't know, but maybe it's something where she.
Tell us in the chat if you know how you parlay that into a job.
Maybe she works on like an Indian reservation or like an indigenous reservation or something like that. I know someone who was actually going to go and work on an indigenous reservation. And so, I don't know. I can't tell you. I got a degree in sociology.
Basket weaving.
I'm not.
Victoria, explain it to us. You were in that sphere.
Some of these interdisciplinary majors.
I really want to know.
Yeah. I laughed when he asked her to break it down. She already broke it down. Yeah. It's like you can't unweave the crazy.
Starbucks. She's going to be working at Starbucks.
She will work at Starbucks. She will be
wearing the little pin with her pronouns.
Yeah.
DEI hire.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I fear for our future.
If I was her advisor, I would immediately make her work in higher education just because I need her to have a job.
Victoria used to advise undergrads.
Yeah. But I can imagine like part of, and I think Sarah summed it up well, like you stay in academia. I'm a piano teacher, homeschool mom. But I got 2 music performance degrees. But I think that's awesome. Like, get the degree for the thing that you want to do and that you love. But I just think that the intentionality behind her degree is the deconstruction of the way that we do school here in the West. And, taking this thing and applying it to knowledge really is to break down the way that we learn, the way that knowledge is constructed and all of that.
Someone said she'll be a consultant. I can see that.
Yeah.
Keep her away from my homeschool co-op.
I think that's hilarious. I think that is funny.
All right.
You
ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
All right. This one's kind of sad. So brace yourself.
Like how sad?
I think it's kind of sad.
Oh, darn. Okay.
All right.
I don't know, y'all.
Killing the vibe.
Here we go. Let's see. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Ugh. This is where we need Kevin.
And surprised his son by taking him to the prom.
Don't mess up that makeup, Gavin.
Look down. Let him cry. Oh, he's crying. Oh, my God. Oh, you made him cry. Wait. Let's let him fall on the floor. Let him fall. Let him fall on the floor. Oh, poor baby. I know my son was going to cry. Hold on. Get some more. Get Yes. Look up. Oh, Mello's crying. That was a moment. He didn't know his pops was going to be there. He cried.
All right.
Oh, bless.
So for the podcast, kind of describe what people were watching there.
So it's a Black family. The kid is going to go to prom. The kid apparently appears to be queer, transgender. Yeah. And so he is dressed in a bob with a velvet tuxedo jacket, but the tuxedo jacket I think has like a long train. Yeah. So
sort of an androgynous type outfit.
I don't think it really. You think so? But the
with a woman wig.
Oh, I didn't think. Oh, well, I guess it was a bob wig. But I don't know if the father, and we don't get the backstory. So I don't know if the father has disapproved of his son's, sexuality in the past and now has shown up on the day of prom while this kid is taking photos and decides he's going to escort him to prom. That's kind of what
because
it
the
looks
dad's
like to
kind
me.
of in a
Matching
tuxedo. And so the idea of the video is that the dad is coming to sort of accept the queer son, and they're all black. So
Yeah,
I just find this video like so sad on so many levels.
I think it's very sad. I think this is just, and I know somebody gonna say something, you don't like black people. We got some foolishness going on in our communities. This to me is just more foolishness and more of the way in which we see this idea of queer identity raising its head in many black communities, among many black young people.
Especially the young men just seem to be particularly being snatched up by queer things.
But I feel like there's a strong push on black women as well.
Yeah.
And it's really sad this kid, I don't know what the longing of his heart was. But to me, I just wonder, like, what else happened? What else? What's
the backstory?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. What is the backstory?
But that's held up in culture as being what a supportive parent looks like.
Yeah, but I feel like that is not just in black culture.
No,
that's across the board in all cultures. Yeah, right now it's like, to be supportive, you're going to be an ally. You're going to, support my kid through all the things. And if I'm not an ally, if I'm not tolerant, completely accepting and all that, then I'm a parent who should be canceled.
It's so sad. I guess Victoria's saying Dear Woke Christian had a stream about this same thing. So I'll put a link to that in the chat. What's his name? Jason?
Yeah. Whitaker. Yeah.
Jessica says, it's so sad for those young men and women. They're so broken and confused.
Yeah, and they're not being met with any truth.
Yeah,
they're not, and that's, I think, what is sad. And that's regardless of skin color. I think the entire ideology just feeds into one ideology after the other. And to me, the queer ideology is definitely the most deceptive and the most dangerous, because the queer ideology really speaks to the core of who someone is. And it wants to call you something at your core and tell you are something at your core. But then also the other side of the queer ideology really seeks to deconstruct everything that's normal in our society. And so, yeah, it is a very sad situation.
Victoria says this is what the definition of love looks like, I think, to many in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're supposed to do. Now, this is an interesting comment. My chat says, I blame every female on that block taking pictures and yelling, and the dad for supporting this nonsense.
Ooh, that sparked a lot of thoughts for me.
Oh, share some.
So my first thought is that, while yes, I can look at the women and say, you know what, they're just supporting him. He might have been, and I don't know this kid, so I don't know it all, but I know that my friends who were raised in predominantly female-run households, my friends who have struggled with identity, or who, completely have gone over into the queer community, the men, especially Black men, have been raised in female run, female led homes, female run and led churches, like just that's all that you see around them predominantly. I don't know that I'm going to say like there is a blame of all the females, but I will say, where are the men? Where are the men leading the homes? Where are the men leading the churches? When we look into many of our Black churches, they are female run. And when we look into many of our households, they are female led. We have an absence of Black men. And I think that for many who struggle with this, what we see is they're gravitating to what they know. I just think we have a big men issue in our community, and that isn't to say that other communities have all their mess together and they're doing everything right and we're over here struggling alone. But when I do look into our community, I'm like, you know what? This foolishness here could have been easily shut down with the right man. And that father who showed up to take his kid to prom could have shut that down by doing something different or not supporting that.
It's sad. I felt sad for that young man, that he needed a dad to show him a better path, not co-sign on the confusion.
Yeah, it's true. There is a need in our community to, and within culture overall. Like I think that Nancy Pearcey summarizes this well in The Toxic War on Masculinity, that we've so vilified the natural role of men, that men's voices have definitely been either completely silenced in some areas or very, very shut down and quieted. And we need more men speaking into our communities to be able to say, no, we're not doing this. And whatever community you belong to, the male voice has a purpose. The male voice speaks volumes, and this isn't the way. Like, even if we take it back to gentle parenting, we should be, gentle and humble and, all of these things. But at some point, I also have to recognize that I don't necessarily know that I see, strong men going along with this gentle parenting idea of, well, he just needs a trophy. We should not, give some people trophies and do things on merit and other kids don't get trophies. No, at some point you need a voice with deep bass in it to tell your behind to go over in that corner. You lost. You came in second, and second is the first loser. And we are not going to reward that today. You will learn. You will continue to train. You will do better next time. But today you didn't win.
You'll never be a gentle parent.
I don't know how. I could read 800 books. To me, it doesn't make sense, because I'm not going to raise my kid to believe that, and I'm not going to definitely not raise my nephews. And we didn't in our family raise my nephews to believe that just because you played the game, you should get a trophy. That don't make no sense. You the first loser. That it sucks. It sucks. It hurts.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointment is hard. And dealing with kids, it is hard. It is definitely a hard issue.
It is a hard issue, but rather you learn disappointment early than you throw a tantrum at work because you didn't get some star or some prize, or because your boss had to pull you to the side. Better you learn that now. Then you decide you're going to flip over your desk. I don't know. That's just my thought on it. And I could be wrong, but we ain't, I wish my sisters would turn around and be like, I'm a gentle parent. We gonna let. Oh no, my little hair jewelry fell off.
Oh, it's rolled over there.
I see it. Hold on.
Did that come with the hair?
No, I bought them separately. Oh. Have you ever played double dutch in school and had all your beads fall off your hair?
Did you just meet me?
that's I had a flashback to being in 6th grade and doing double dutch, and then you jump so hard that your beads fall off, and then your friends got to help you pick them up. It's a sad day, friend.
See, here's an experienced parent right here. Disappointment and learning to deal with envy for those that want what you want. Disappointment, helping shepherding your kid through disappointment. That's rough. This was so hard.
Yeah, but we can be in it together.
Yeah,
we can be
exactly.
in it together. How can I help you be the best version of this thing that you want to be, that you can be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to run track, you want to win. I'll be at the track with you every morning at 5:36. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. But what we not going to do is give you a trophy as if.
Jessica says, I got a brown ribbon for 14th place at a livestock show because everyone needed a participation ribbon. We all knew as kids it was stupid.
Yeah. I remember one time my nephew was playing on a ball team and they were giving everybody trophies just because, like, well, these are the winning trophies and these are the trophies because you did a really good job. I think my brother told him no, he wasn't going to take it.
He said, you're not doing that?
Yeah, we're not doing that. You lost. We different. We cut from a different kind of cloth though. So, everybody don't need to be like us. Everybody don't.
No.
Funny how one person is yelling, he's crying. So what does he? He's crying. So what does he identify as, male or female? Much it is. It is, and it's like maybe his gender is one thing, but his sexuality is something else, or he could be, transsexual, but what do they call it? Like trans mask or trans femme or bi-femme, bisexual, identifying as, or the way I dress, the way my appearance is feminine. There's so many things, but it just continually breeds so much confusion.
Yeah. So we got to mention yesterday on a
I got out of bed today. Where's my gold star? I'm done.
We got to mention yesterday on an article at Christ Overall, our friends over there, Kevin got us connected with them, and Kevin's friend, I'm going to just show the headline here of this, that Christ Overall has been doing a series. They're kind of connected to the Southern Baptist Convention. They're not part of the SBC, but they are a bunch of Southern Baptists that are concerned about what's happening in their denomination. And so they've been running a series of articles on the ERLC. I don't know if you know who they are.
I do. The something Liberty Commission, the Evangelical Religious Liberty Commission.
They're supposed to be kind of like recommending policies and laws to the government and doing the public theology of things like abortion and injustice and advising churches and pastors on the cultural issues of the day. But many leaders who are on the more conservative side of the Southern Baptist Convention feel that the ERLC is kind of this drifting, it's sort of drifting into the mushy middle on things, and they don't take strong policy stands as they should.
They're not progressive.
No,
but they're not gonna necessarily walk on the side of conservatism that we would.
Yeah. So Kevin's friend,
John
LaRue gave us a really nice shout out in the article that he did on the ERLC today. I think he came out yesterday. It's called "Missing the Mark: A Pastor's Loss of Trust in the ERLC," and I thought it was really nice. He gave us a shout out, and Kevin,
Thaddeus, Daryl and Virgil, Owen Strand.
Even had a link to our website here. Yes. Spelled my name wrong, but that's okay. Yeah. Virgil, Daryl, Thaddeus, Kevin, Vody. So, a lot of friends of the ministry. And
I think part of his argument was, hey, if you're so, conservative and you're so wanting to, keep everything gospel center, why do you continually mention these resources that aren't?
Yeah.
And when you had the opportunity to.
Yeah. And he was saying, the Ministry of Center for Biblical Unity is a conservative evangelical ministry that has ably responded to errors of critical race theory and intersectionality while stressing the need for biblical unity. I thought that was a very nice statement that he made about us and gave us a little shout out. And on Kevin's post, he actually came on there and said, what the Center for Biblical Unity does is exactly what the ERLC should
I
be
didn't see
doing.
that.
I thought that was a very nice compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met this guy. Have you met
Me
him?
either. No, I haven't. I don't believe so anyway.
And what the ERLC should have been doing as supporting for the last decade. Instead, they propped up critical race theory, affirming voices, and then decided to completely drop the subject the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
The abdication on this critical cultural topic is shameful for an ethics organization. So thanks, Pastor John, for that very kind word for us.
Yes.
We appreciate it. So anyways.
The chat says, thanks to the two of you for standing strong, teaching and talking us through this confusion over the last couple of years. Thank you very much. We're grateful to be able to do what we do.
Yeah,
you know, we definitely are. It isn't an easy thing, and you're often misunderstood, but that's okay. I feel like it is what it is. We definitely want to be a voice that is biblical in the conversation and leading people to the scriptures. So yeah. All right, girl, I gotta go home.
All right, it's sort of a hodgepodge of the family meeting, but we're going to see you Saturday. We're going to have a live show for All the Things with Kevin Briggins. We're going to be talking about DEI in the military. It's the kind of a show we've been wanting to do with Kevin for a while now that he's out of the military. He can speak a little more freely. So
y'all bring your popcorn, bring your blanket. It might go long.
So we're going to talk about DEI in the military, but also recent changes and how they're trying to get it out of the military and a few missteps that have happened along the way. So people won't want to miss that.
Yeah, we need to talk about how do we get DEI just out of so many private things, and the renaming of DEI. Can we talk about how do we? I know people want to stand against DEI, but we need to be standing against SEL. Boy, I got a lot of thoughts. Sorry.
All right. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for those of you who financially partner with us and making this ministry possible so that Monique and I can spend all this time researching and reading all these books and trying to help understand what's happening and tracking what's on the cutting edge and keeping you guys informed about everything. We really appreciate all of your support.
We do. We are very, very grateful. What's going on this week coming up? Anything else aside from, we're going to be at Unshaken Conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico not this weekend, but the following weekend. The 4th, like that 5th, 6th, somewhere around there. That Saturday is Unshaken in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Pastor Skip Heitzig's church. Mm-hmm. And so we will be there. If y'all in the area, come on through.
So now you're flying away to Impact 360. You're going to be there next.
That's all. I'll fly away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
It's
always a song.
I will be at Impact 360 on Monday and Tuesday.
So you're going to be doing 4 presentations there for the young people and really focusing on justice, unity.
Really focusing on unity. Like, what is the ground for unity? How do we do unity? I am rereading a couple of books that were very prominent in 2020, 2021 that many people have just put into their regular library of, this is the book that I go to. One of them is called Beautiful Community by Erwin Ince. Another is
that's not a book we endorse.
No, it's not.
It's
what is that Derwin Gray book? I forgot. You see it on my desk? You see the name of it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something about the racial divide, healing the racial divide.
Yeah, healing the racial divide. Another one is
that's also a book we don't endorse.
Yeah, and it's so sad because the wording and the ideas are so subtle. Like I was reading in Derwin. Let me go get it. I'm gonna use it as an example. Now, personally, because I've heard Derwin talk about on other podcasts, I know that he believes that the definition of racism is prejudice plus power. Okay, so I, as a Black person, can be prejudiced, but I don't have the institutional power that you would hold within our nation. And so, as a white person, I don't know if you technically.
And that's not a definition of racism that you and I hold.
It's not. It's not. But that is how he defines it. And so, as you're reading, as I'm reading this book, let me see where he says racism. And it's so tricky. Bear with me, okay? I'm gonna start under the bar is far too low.
This is on page 126.
Not that anybody has this book or is, referencing it, but he says, in the church, we have set the bar far too low for having a racist attitude. Often racists are portrayed as people who are involved in the KKK or another hate group, or who have Nazi swastikas tattooed on their shoulders. We think racists are people we can easily identify by some outward allegiance or display. More importantly, we draw the line for what constitutes racism somewhere beyond our own attitudes and beliefs, to make sure the label never touches our own hearts. However, racist attitudes and institutional structures. Okay, so now we've gone from just people to bringing in institutions. However, racist attitudes and institutional structures can be much more subtle and just as damaging. Racism is both institutional and systemic. Okay, I don't necessarily disagree or think that systems can't be impacted, to promote injustice. Individual racism and prejudice is the belief or doctrine that one's ethnic group is superior to another. Thus, the domination or unequal treatment of the group you see as inferior is normalized. For example, and then he gives the example of Native Americans. And let's see. Now, I'm scoot down a little bit. As a pastor for years now, I have counseled and discipled people who are working through racism.
So the question you always have to ask in these books, when you're reading a Christian book on race, is who are they talking to? Mm-hmm. Are they talking to Black people, white people, or everyone? Mm-hmm. And that's what you have to detect in the book. A lot of books on the Christian side, evangelical Christian side, that are written from the perspective of racial reconciliation are mostly written to white people, even if they don't expressly say, I'm talking to white people.
Although there are some books that do, and I appreciate those.
I always appreciate the clarity.
I said, yes, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes, as a pastor for years now, I have counseled and discipled people who are working through racism.
So who are these people?
Well, I don't know. But let's see. Let's keep going. The Lord has worked and is working in my own heart to rid it of prejudice. It's two different groups of people. Can you hear it? But it's so subtle. So the idea, and again,
so the people working through racism,
my assumption based on what he's saying is either they are white people because they are working through their own racism, or
and a person of color can't be racist in the definition of racism is prejudice plus power.
Yes.
But he's working through his prejudice because he's Black.
Yes.
But not his racism.
Not his racism.
Okay.
And so I know this because I heard Derwin Gray, Christina Edmondson, and Chad Brenning, who are Christina Edmondson and Chad Brenning are the authors of a book called Faithful Anti-Racism. They actually did an interview, all three of them, Chad Brenning, Derwin Gray, and Christina Edmondson, 2022, maybe, in I think Christianity Today, where they give all of these definitions. And part of the definitions we have to understand is the definition of racism. And so when someone says, as a pastor for years now, I've counseled and discipled people who are working through racism, help me understand your definition of racism. But it's the bait and switch. It's that quick little whack-a-mole game when they bring all these definitions and terms in, because then he immediately goes into,
Kathy, what are you laughing at?
And the Lord has worked and is working in my own heart to rid it of prejudice. And so this is but these are the books that many many institutions recommend, many churches, many college ministries, because what's the name? How to Heal Our Racial Divide. I'm reading a book, the book that I'm reading by Erwin Ince clearly says that, you know, white people, you have this burden to bear in like setting aside it was about setting aside preferences, especially like in churches and things like that. This is your burden to bear.
Now, Ince is the head of the mission board
for the PCA,
for the Presbyterian Church of America.
And so, but it's like, so should I don't have to, like, that isn't my burden to bear. He clearly says the majority of this burden to bear is yours. What about what we see as we read the epistles, and like that this work is for the family of God? It might hit me differently, it might hit you differently, but it's the whole work is for all the people. But people want to continue to promote people. And I don't know these people. Like I don't, but their ideas are what we see in a lot of churches. And then when someone like me comes in and I'm like, actually, all the work is for all the people. Nobody has some, you know, greater work to do in speaking truth. Look through Ephesians 4. We all have a work to bear, a burden to bear in that for the sake of our familial unity. They want to look at me like I got two heads. I'm the whitest thing that walked into a congregation when I say that. You know what I mean? Because they
won't be inviting you back.
They won't. But this solves their issues. This is their penance. This is their, you know, it's telling me what I have to do because I am guilty by complicity as a white person. And a black person telling you, I don't know. It is what it is. Y'all being good Baptists tonight. How many times are you going to close? I'm going to get out your way in just a minute.
I'm not getting out of your way anytime soon.
I'm going to get out your way in just a minute. But yeah, this is what our young people are being sold. This is what they're being given. And it's coming in full doses. So then when you get you know, a 20-something person in the PCA who's so good and, you know, biblical, but they're arguing for reparations. Well, why is that? Because they've been indoctrinated through this.
It's not uncommon for us to go speak somewhere, particularly if it's a predominantly white crowd. And when we get up there and we start talking about Ephesians 2 and family and forgiveness and biblical unity and walking in unity according to Ephesians 4, and that all of the commandments of God apply to all the people, and that there's not a special burden for white people, and simply because of historical injustices and all of that. When we go in and we start talking like this, it is not uncommon for people to never invite us back, or that they just don't believe us. They really want us to come with a message. Hey, white people, here's what the penance that you can do to relieve yourself from the guilt that you've been feeling. If you just do these things, then you will be relieved from guilt. And my question always is, what makes you think you are going to accomplish in the flesh what God started in the spirit? The Holy Spirit has made us family. Do you really think you're going to accomplish in your flesh the unburdening of whatever this sin by proxy that you want to impute to yourself?
Yeah, that's a good word. But if you would like to attempt so, you can give at Center for Biblical
You can mail those checks to P.O. Box 811 Upland, California.
I'm just saying.
917
to the person who's feeling super guilty today. No, it's true. We and you know, even and this is where, you know, I think people get so confused and messed up, because it's not that the whole book is trash.
It's like the gentle parenting book we were talking about at the beginning. There's things in here I agree with. It's not all trash.
Yeah.
But you have to put forward so much effort to sort it all out.
Or you have to, I think where I become skeptical is that the wording can be so subtle that it almost
really
feels manipulative.
You really have to pay attention.
Yeah. It's that hoodwink and bamboozle is so subtle, you know? Anyway, this time for real, I gotta go. We're gonna wrap it up. Okay, we're gonna do the benediction.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go. All right, you guys. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
All right. We'll see you Saturday night.
We'll see you this Saturday. I don't know if we'll be here next week for the family meeting because we're traveling.
Yeah, we're flying to